Hi there, you're watching Market Cafe on ET Now with me, Shreyanshi Singh, and over the next 1 hour, me and Priyanka Uppal will be taking you through news and updates from within the country as well as across the globe, and also tell you which stocks you should then be keeping on your radar. And speaking of stocks, then let's take a quick look at the handover then coming in from the Wall Street, because you did see quite a rally coming on Friday. You did have the three major averages, in fact, post their first weekly gain of the new year. So when you take a look at the Dow Jones, you're looking at an addition of about 334 points or 0.7% thereabout, ended above those 43,400 levels is where Dow Jones was at. And when you take a look at the S&P 500 as well, an uptick of 1% is what you're looking at. Even as far as this particular index is also concerned, Nasdaq Composite is the one that also advanced 1.5% as well. Now you do have big tech stocks that were higher on the day, that is on Friday, with shares of Tesla popping 3%. You did have chip-making giant Nvidia, that's the one that jumped 3.1% as well. And you do have Alphabet shares that also added more than 1%. When you take a look at the move for the week, then for the week, you did have the Dow and the S&P 500 that advanced 3.7% and 2.9% respectively. Let's try and get that rate up as well, because you'll be able to track the weekly movement, which is for the Dow Jones, it's 3.7% of an uptick and 2.9% when I'm talking about the S&P 500 as well. You did have both indexes that posted their biggest weekly advance since the week of the US presidential election in November as well. You do have the Nasdaq that also climbed 2.5% week to date for its best 1 week performance since early December last week as well. So that's the kind of move that you saw coming in last week. Those gains come after investors also received back-to-back reports showing inflationary pressures softening somewhat. So that largely is the kind of handover that we have, at least as far as US markets are concerned. But Priyanka, it was quite the week coming in as far as oil was also concerned.
Morning, Shreyanshi, of course. But then let's not forget, it's a big day today ahead of US President-elect Donald Trump swearing ceremony, and it will happen at Indian time at 10:30 p.m. So that's the one key event which globally everybody is eyeing, because he's made an announcement within 24 hours. There would be some crucial announcements. So that's what markets have been seeking clarity on. But let's understand what happened in oil markets. Oil market did, of course, they fell slightly on Friday. If you look at it, posted up after four consecutive week of gain. What we have seen is that this was a slight change in oil prices on Friday. Not much to read into it. But then street is assessing what kind of impact it could possibly be on oil especially after the US sanctions. In the last week itself, oil has gained more than 1%. So this was one crucial event when, of course, emerging markets, Indian markets in specific, also tracks. But then, of course, all eyes are on Trump's inauguration today. But then also talk about 10-year bond yield, which were little changed on Friday. There was of course, they were sharply fallen before that earlier in the week, but then on Friday it was just up by 1 basis point which settled at 4.61%. That's what the handover is coming in from as far as 10-year bond yield, oil is concerned. And even let's get you what happened to gold also, because that's the safe haven. And of course, whenever there is a volatility in equity market, that is also reflected in gold also. But that one, I suppose, looks like for the third weekly gain, what we saw, the kind of handover coming in from gold also. So that's the largely handover from gold.
Well, absolutely. And let's take it forward and take a look at the events that we're then watching out for from the US. Of course, you do have Donald Trump's inauguration. That is something that we've been talking about for a very long time. And you do have, aside from the asset classes that we've been talking about, there's also crypto that is going to be in focus on the back of that inauguration as well. From China, you do have loan prime rates. Other than that, from Japan, there's industrial production data. So keep an eye on that data set as well. And in terms of corporate announcements, then Nazara Tech is the one that is going to be, the board is going to be mulling fundraise. So keep an eye on that one. It's also the last day to buy shares to be eligible for interim dividend when it comes to Angel One. In terms of other events, then you do also have the World Economic Forum that kicks off in Davos as well. So that is also an important meeting that we're watching out for.
Absolutely. But then let's kickstart our coverage this morning with the biggest story that we are tracking, of course, is the United States 45th president, all set to take oath as the 47th president in Washington, D.C. Now, this will mark one of the most remarkable comebacks in the modern politics. Trump is also only the second president in 230 plus years of American democracy to have come to power, lost the re-election and then returned to the White House. On day one of office, Trump's plans on signing as many as 100 executive orders with major focus on border security and energy as well. Meanwhile, Reliance Industries chairman Mukesh Ambani and Reliance Foundation chairperson Neeta Ambani posed for a photograph with the US President-elect Donald Trump. The couple reportedly were among the few Indian entrepreneurs invited to a candlelight dinner a day before the inauguration. Among others, Amazon boss Jeff Bezos was among the global business leaders in attendance at the dinner. Times Network's Ashish joins us now with what's expected from the ceremony later today. Ashish.
America is also to enter its new era as Donald Trump will be sworn in as the 47th President of the United States. This will be his second term into office and will mark one of the most remarkable political comebacks in US history. In fact, what makes it even more remarkable is the fact that Donald Trump has come back from all odds, the kind of cases that he's faced, and even including assassination attempts that have not stopped his Trump wagon into now marching back into the US Capitol. But unfortunately for his supporters, a lot of them will not be able to catch the entire event live because the outdoor event has been cancelled because of the temperatures. This means that the inauguration ceremony will take place indoors in a room, in a hall that can accommodate 600 people, and the topmost faces of the US Congress and also some tech leaders and all the biggest names in the world are expected to attend this inauguration. Now, traditionally, inauguration is an event where the president-elect is sworn in and the outgoing president, of course, wishes him well. And this inauguration will happen with Donald Trump and, of course, his vice president pick, J.D. Vance, swearing on the Bible. They will, of course, take the oath on the Bible. It will be administered by the Chief Justice of the United States, John Roberts. And this entire ceremony is going to be streamed live for viewers from across the world. And, of course, like you see with everything that involves Donald Trump, it is going to be a massive, massive affair. In fact, he had also invited the Chinese president, who is skipping this particular event. Some of the biggest names from across the world had also been invited, and a lot of them are expected to skip the event. Instead, because of security reasons, a lot of these countries will be sending their official representatives. So it remains to be seen how it entirely plays out. But again, like you see with Donald Trump, he is expected to give out an inaugural address right after the swearing in. And also he has promised to sign a lot of executive orders soon after his inauguration. We'll of course see how this entire thing plays out.
Alright then, thanks Ashish for getting us a lowdown on that inauguration ceremony. Then Trump 2.0 is taking flight. But now let's also put the spotlight then on Trump's political journey so far. What's next on his to-do list then after the inauguration? Take a look at this special report.
We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will never give in. We will never give up.
January 20th, 2025 will be marked in the history books forever. Donald J. Trump returns to the White House, not just as a former president, but also as the 47th president of the United States. After twice being impeached, battling legal challenges and defying countless odds, Trump makes his triumphant return. Today, America witnesses not just the comeback of a presidency, but the start of a new chapter in political history. Trump's path to the White House has been anything but smooth. More of a political demolition derby with plenty of crashes and burns along the way. His first impeachment in 2019 was tied to the Ukraine scandal, which painted him as a leader willing to exchange political favors for personal gain. But like a political phoenix, he rose from the flames after a Senate acquittal in 2020, a moment that set the stage for a second re-election battle. In 2021, however, things took a darker turn after the January 6th Capitol riot, when Trump faced a second impeachment for inciting an insurrection. A rare bipartisan move saw 10 Republican lawmakers break ranks, voting to impeach him.
Thank you very much, everybody. This is a witch hunt. It's a hoax. Thank you.
Despite the weight of the charges, Trump was acquitted once again. The nation was split. Some saw a victim of political persecution. Others saw a man continuously avoiding the consequences of his actions.
in Georgia.
I am tired of watching Americans be put last.
He wants you.
2024 wasn't just about rallies, it was about a political comeback. As Trump geared up for another shot at the presidency, the election was fraught with chaos and controversy. His challenger was a candidate as divisive as he was, and the nation was primed for yet another showdown at the ballot box. Amid new accusations of voter fraud and challenges to the integrity of the voting process, Trump and his allies did not back down. In fact, they doubled down, claiming that the 2024 election was rigged, continuing to stoke anger and division. The narrative that had powered his first campaign, fighting the system to reclaim America, was now more critical than ever. Trump's resilience was on full display as legal battles over election results dragged on. But unlike his first term, there was no stopping him from using every tool in his arsenal. He made sure that his message was front and center, whether it was on social media, rallies, or his own branded news network. As Trump prepared for the 2024 election, the media landscape was more fractured than ever. The rise of alternative media platforms gave Trump a powerful megaphone, enabling him to bypass traditional outlets that had once tried to hold him accountable. This time, he was more polished, more determined, and his base more motivated. His message was clear: make America great yet again.
We're never going to stop fighting for you, for your dreams.
Even with legal challenges looming, his political machine was in full swing, mobilizing millions of Americans who felt unheard. As traditional media questioned his every move, Trump found new ways to seize control of the narrative, turning every setback into a rallying cry.
Together we can truly make.
All right, then that's the backdrop that his inauguration then is coming against. But now, thanks to Trump, TikTok began restoring its services after President-elect Donald Trump said that he would revive the app's access in the United States when he returns to power later today. TikTok also thanked Trump in a post on Twitter. He promised to issue an executive order right after his takeover. His gesture also represents a reversal in his stance from his first term in office. Recently, Trump in fact has said that he has a warm spot in his heart for TikTok, crediting the app with helping him win over young voters in the 2024 election.
All right. Meanwhile, Taiwan's biggest chip company is confident the Trump administration will continue funding its projects in the US market also. The company, remember, has been promised $6.6 billion under the Joe Biden's administration's Chips and Science Act to help build 3 cutting-edge chip fabrication plants in Arizona as part of US efforts to onshore chip manufacturing. In an interview, company's CFO Wendell Huang said the funding was expected to continue to roll in gradually under Trump as fabrication plants pass construction as well as production milestones.
All right, then moving on, over the weekend, ceasefire operations commenced in Gaza. Israeli authorities have released 90 Palestinian prisoners after Israeli authorities earlier wounded at least 7 people who had gathered nearby to celebrate. Hamas handed 3 Israeli captives to the Red Cross, which transferred them to Israeli forces, who took them out of the Gaza Strip. The first 8 trucks have entered Gaza as part of the ceasefire deal. 600 trucks carrying humanitarian aid are set to arrive each day, with half the trucks heading north of the Gaza Strip and the rest remaining south. Gaza's Interior Ministry said in a statement that local security forces were reintroduced to the main streets of Gaza following the start of the ceasefire agreement.
All right, and now moving on, let's shift focus, let's shift gears to Davos. That's also one key event where globally all the economies and of course markets are eyeing at. In fact, let's understand what is happening at Davos. That's the 55th edition of the annual World Economic Forum, which is all set to begin at Davos, Switzerland. More than 3,000 leaders from across the geographies as well as the industries are convening for this meeting to discuss the important regional as well as the global issues. In fact, let's get you more on that only because that's a key event. With the theme of this year's edition is set to be Collaboration for the Intelligent Age. The forum will touch on topics such as managing a fair and equitable energy transition, boosting growth through raised living standards, and even reacting to geopolitical shocks. The venue is full of bustle and energy as it gears up to host more than 350 government leaders, over 1,600 business leaders, and more than 170 leaders from civil society and the social sector. And amongst these names is India, from which 6 states, namely Andhra Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Kerala, Maharashtra, Telangana, and Tamil Nadu, are showcasing its regional success stories as well as investment potential, all under one roof in the Indian Pavilion. Stay tuned as Times Network will bring more interesting insights and glimpses from the World Economic Forum 2025.
Alright, then definitely an important event to watch out for, but time for a very quick breather on the show. When we come back, we'll take stock of how the Asian markets are faring, so don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. You're watching Market Cafe on ET Now. This is Priyanka. Now let's get you cues from the Asian market, which looks to be strong at this point in time. In fact, Asia Pacific market, major of the markets have opened on a higher note or are trading with a positive bias. Look at Nikkei. It's already 1.5% up, and this is all because, of course, globally all the economies and the markets are waiting cleanly for a greater clarity what is coming in from US now. Now, Japan's Nikkei, that's up on the screen. It's 1.4% up. Topics also was up 1.37%. Kospi is, however, down by 0.16%. At the same time, the Kosdaq was also a little soft at the start, but Hang Seng is also in solid green, in deep shade of green. In fact, 1.8% is that the gains coming in on Hang Seng. It actually followed on to the gain. It opened with a bias 1% up, and then it has there is a follow-through gain also. Shanghai, China market is also up more than 0.5% at this moment. In fact, there were key developments, crucial developments which came in from China market only, China economy only. The first, their central bank, that one actually held the 1-year PLR rates, the prime rates at 3.1%. Their 5-year LPR was also held at 3.6%. And this has actually, led the offshore yuan strengthen modestly now. Hang Seng, even Japan, Kospi is down, but then major of the markets, the key markets are trading with a positive bias. ASX 200 is also up by 0.26%, and that's what GIFT Nifty is also indicating a good start. Maybe it's 20 points up, nearly flash to positive. Let's see how do we go about it. We still have a crucial resistance at 23,350. Let's see if market the kind of momentum which we've gathered from US as well as Asia is able to get us through that crucial resistance, Shreyansi.
Well, absolutely, yes. Let's see how that really pans out for us. But in other news, then, ace javelin thrower Neeraj Chopra, the man who won India its first Olympic gold medal in track and field events, is tied the knot. On your screens, you can see the visuals coming in from his wedding as well. So congratulations are definitely in order for the champion.
All right, yes, the wedding bells, of course, is a good news for him. We stay for a short break here, but... Welcome back. You're watching Market Cafe. Now let's get you all the action that happened at Bharat Mobility Global Expo over the weekend, which took place, and numerous launches took place. The forefront were at the forefront were the numerous launches, BMW and VinFast. Meanwhile, WEY launched India's first solar electric car, EVA. JSW MG Motor India showcased 9 advanced models, launching MG Magister. Additionally, Chinese pair BYD launched the BYD Celeon 7 pure performance SUV. It was from our Bharat Mobility Collective. Let's get you some interesting interactions my colleague Somit as well as Aishwarya had with the managements of VECV, Switch Mobility and even the WEY. Take a look.
We are very positive because this year there has been a little bit of, you can say, marginal drop. If you look at first 9 months, the industry has dropped marginally. All segments put together, including buses, there is a drop of around 2%. However, in trucks, the drop is a little bit more, and buses, there is a growth of 19%. So trucks, heavy-duty trucks, there is a drop of 7%, light and medium-duty drop is 5%. However, there is very clear reason why this drop has happened this year, because there was a little bit of slowdown in the investments, infrastructure investments, which is going to be made up a lot in the last quarter. So therefore, we are very positive on the industry performance in Q4, and going forward, we are also very hopeful that the government will continue its thrust on the infrastructure investments. There would be, we hope that there will be good allocation of the capital expenditure in the coming budget, and therefore next year also we are expecting industry to do better, because economy is expected to do 6% plus, and there is a lot of replacement demand, because we are expecting BS3 and BS4, all the trucks will come back for replacement, because the new trucks are much more productive and they can create much more value for the customers.
So talking about PM's vision of Make in India, well, you are definitely going with that vision, but on the larger picture side, that definitely message goes to OEMs, but goes to the larger world that India is very serious about its auto business.
Absolutely, because Make in India is happening. As it is, auto industry had been self-sufficient, but of late there was some imports on account of electronics, which has gone up because of BS4 to BS6. But there also there is a lot of focus on the manufacture of semiconductors here, or a lot of work is happening on the Make in India, and all the companies are very conscious of manufacturing in India, and you will see more and more progress on that. And PLI scheme is also driving local manufacture.
So one last question on the price rise. So any possibility of price rise coming on your commercial vehicles? We have seen your competition talking about it and thinking about it. You are also thinking about the same?
It will be better price management. Either it will be through reduction of discounts or little bit increase in price. So fundamentally transaction prices will go up, either by reduction of discounts or by increase in price.
EV series have been launched by us last year. We have EV 3 and 4 already in the market. We have about 700 vehicles on road doing well. Some of the customers are looking at the mid-mile delivery, mid-mile sorting centers in the e-commerce and things. So we have unveiled a new product called IEV8, which is part of the Intelligent Electric Vehicle series. This has about 7.2 ton is the GVW, a 4-ton payload, up to 830 cubic feet of cargo can be taken. This can go up to 250 kilometers range. We have 140 kilowatt hour battery, lithium-ion batteries. We have a high voltage technology. You can charge it in 50 minutes to get 200 kilometer back. So the vehicle is designed to give again feeling of the best total cost of ownership to our customers.
What is the development cost that has gone into this? And if you talk about the overall market, what kind of market you're looking at, including exports?
See, this is a concept we are unveiling. We'll do the development and get it to the market soon. We are doing a market study now. Typically, you will spend close to 100 crore for developing such products into the market. A series of products. It's modular and scalable platform. We can do 70 kilowatt hour battery. We can do 140 kilowatt hour battery. It has tiltable steering. It has recliner seats. It has a provision to do left-hand drive. So we are looking at export markets as well. And then we'll look at bringing the product as soon as in the market.
EVA is a new category of vehicles that we are bringing to India. This is a city car. It is intended for medium speed operation on city roads. Typically, people drive a big car by themselves and they end up taking a lot of space. They don't get space to park. EVA takes care of that. With a narrow body, you can go on narrow roads, park in little spaces, and it gives the convenience and the comfort of a premium hatchback. So you're not making any sacrifices just because you are in a small car. We've built EVA, we've designed, envisioned, built the car here in India. We are a Pune-based company. The car has 250 kilometers of range on a single charge. We are able to charge the car overnight in 5 hours at home, or if you're on the road and you need top up, you can get 50 kilometers of fast charging in 5 minutes. And ultimately the big one is the solar roof on top. The solar roof really works well in this car because the car is very efficient. So in 1 day of solar charging, if the car is out in the sun, you will pick up about 10 to 12 kilometers of range.
So I think this is one of the few cars, or maybe the first car actually, that gives you the power to charge it via solar, and also 2 ways of charging through the charging station, electric charging as well. Take us through some of the features of EVA, because when a new brand enters the market, there's this trust factor that you really have to build on. Some of the features of EVA, if you could just take us through and give a walkthrough of EVA as well.
Certainly. So the key feature I already described externally was the solar panel.
Yeah.
What we have done inside the vehicle, and maybe you can shoot it afterwards, is the dual screen touch screen panel. The car is connected and it has an app for making choices on whether you want to turn on the AC from somewhere else, so that the car is cool when you reach it. The car can be tracked, so it's a very well connected car. The touch system has Android and Apple integration. And we have a host of features inside which we thought about every little thing, so that we can take care of the needs of the consumer, the commuter in the city. The little thing here, for example, I'll show you. This is a little tray that if you're starting by the side of the road, so we are from Pune, we stop by the road and have a cup of chaha, and we have, and a vada pav. That is the place where I'll stop there and have that. Besides that, we have other features like the charging point there is not just for phones, it's a 45-watt charger that can charge your laptop while you're on the road. There is a number of features that we have built in which are only typically found in a premium hatchback or even a higher category of vehicle. If in the vehicle, the solar panel is optional. If you don't choose the solar panel option, the actual roof of the vehicle is complete glass. So you have a beautiful panoramic view if you choose not to have the solar panel on there.
A detailed report on India's first solar-powered EV, but let's keep it going with the Bharat Mobility Expo. Then Hyundai India and TVS Motor have joined hands to boost last-mile connectivity in India. The two auto majors will also be conceptualizing the development of advanced E3-wheelers, micro four-wheelers as well. Sumit Chaturvedi is joining us with the details of that as well. Sumit, over to you.
Well, a big partnership has happened in India's auto space. TVS Motor and Hyundai, they have come together, joined hands to develop electric vehicles, three-wheelers, four-wheelers, all kind of vehicles. This is the first concept of E4W that can come from the side of Hyundai and TVS combined. Well, what has been said is that this will be manufactured by TVS, conceptualized by Hyundai, and both will work on different partnerships as well. We can see it's an interesting vehicle, looks like a futuristic one. Well, TVS already is having a tie with BMW, and this is the one which is going to define on a different level as far as TVS and Hyundai are concerned. TVS, as we know, is a two-wheeler major in India. Hyundai is a global Korean four-wheeler player, but they have come together to bring this kind of vehicle. Well, new technologies are emerging every day in Indian market, global markets as well. So this kind of partnership is needed. TVS is likely to bring its prowess in manufacturing. We can see the small fan over there, which I would like to point out, and a place for umbrella. This kind going to be a last mile connectivity solution for urban areas, and further also it's going to define the future of mobility. Well, global markets, it looks like, need this kind of vehicle, and that's why TVS Motors and Hyundai Motor have joined hands to develop vehicles. For them, both of them, it's a completely new space where they are coming to develop vehicles, manufacturing them and exporting them.
All right, thanks very much, Sumit, for that detailed lowdown on the key actions which happened during the Bharat Mobility Expo 2025. But then now let's keep pace with the earnings. Banking major Kotak Bank has come out with its Q3 earnings, where both PAT and NII are in line with the street estimates. On the other hand, RBL Bank has also posted its Q3 earnings. My colleague Gaurav is joining us with all the detail, all the number crunching that he's done for us. Gaurav, 5 upgrades, what we see on Kotak Mahindra Bank. Nearly brokerages are giving it a thumbs up after nearly 4.5 years. Tell us the highlights of both the banks, Kotak as well as RBL.
Well, absolutely. When we talk about numbers, those were actually in line. Let's talk about net interest income and PPOP and PAT. All the numbers were in line. But what was surprising here is that the net interest margins increased almost by 2 basis points on a sequential basis, whereas Street is expecting a decline because of the pressure which has been faced by the industry overall. And at the same time, second very positive trigger was that when we talk about credit costs, that came up at 0.68% and slippages actually declined on a sequential basis almost by 12%. Now, this was something which was not anticipated by the Street, because overall when we talk about banking segment, we are seeing the stress rising, and that is the reason why we are seeing some kind of positive uptick coming up for Kotak Mahindra Bank. On the other hand, when we talk about management commentary also, that remained very positive. Management did not sound anywhere cautious, and they are also at the same time being cautious on the unsecured segment, and that is the reason why we are seeing some upgrades coming up from brokerages as well. On the other hand, when we talk about RBL, when we talk about numbers, net interest income and PPOP was fairly in line, but when we talk about profitability, we saw a decline of around 86% on a year-on-year basis, and the reason being that provisions went up very sharply. In fact, provisions were the highest in the quarter so far, and the reason being that MFI pressure for RBL Bank has been higher than expected. When we talk about credit cost, now management has said that although the credit cost will come down, but for FY25 it will remain high. In fact, for Q4 it will remain higher, and at the same time net interest margins will also see some kind of pressure. On the other hand, when we talk about slippages, we saw gross slippages went up as high as 6% because of the pressure in MFI segment. So definitely a very pressure environment is what we are seeing in RBL Bank, and that is the reason when we talk about brokerages also, we saw a very pessimistic note coming. So in fact, when we talk about brokerages like in IIFL, they have cut down their EPS estimate almost by 25 to 30% for the bank for FY27, and they have also cut the target price. So definitely on one hand, Kotak Mahindra Bank came up with exceptionally good numbers, and at the other hand, RBL Bank came up with weak set of numbers because of the high MFI exposure. On the back of this, we will be definitely watching out on both these banks today.
Well, absolutely. Thanks, Gaurav, for that update coming in on RBL Bank as well as Kotak Bank then. But let's also go across to Ansh, who's standing by with a report on Wipro as well as Tech Mahindra. Wipro, of course, reported a good set of numbers. Inline set coming in for Tech Mahindra. Ansh, get us a lowdown on both of these earnings then.
Well, Wipro has reported IT service revenue of 22,285 crore for Q3, showing a modest growth of 0.4% on a quarter-on-quarter basis, which is in line with the market expectation. Now, if we talk about net profit, then that has rose by 4.3%, surpassing the estimates of the market. While EBIT margin has improved from 16.8% to 17.4%, but in dollar terms, if we see the revenue, then that was reported at $2,630 million, reflecting a decline of more than 1%. Also, the company has reported large TCV wins worth rupees $960 million, although this marks a 35% decline compared to previous quarter. Now, if we talk about attrition, then that has also increased from 14.5% to 15.3%. So the bottom line here is, despite the dip in dollar revenue, Wipro has delivered a better than expected performance in terms of profitability and operational efficiency, but a big dip in TCV still remains a concern. Tech Mahindra reported revenue which was marginally down by around 0.2% on quarter-on-quarter basis, staying in line with the market expectation. However, if we talk about profit, then that has dropped sharply by 21.4% to 989 crore, significantly missing the market estimates. If we talk about EBIT, then that has gone up by around 5.5%, with margin at 10.2%, which were in line with the market forecast. And now, if we talk about new deals, then of TCV, we are seeing $745 million, which is up from its initial number of $603 million. So this is a good factor here. But if we talk about attrition, then that has also actually increased from 10.6% to 11.2%. Now, while the Tech Mahindra delivered inline operational performance, the sharp decline in profit still remains a big concern here.
Okay, let's see how, what is the kind of reaction we see on IT Pack. That has already run up also. And last week, there was a subdued performance for the entire IT Pack also. Infosys was a major dragger. Let's see how Wipro, Tech Mahindra, able to react today. With this, we stay for a short break here. When we come back, we get you all the buzzing stock that could be, that you need to focus on to set you up for the trade today. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying tuned in. Well, Sharad is standing by with a list of stocks that you should be watching out for in trade today. Sharad, over to you.
The first one is Gland Pharma. They have received an EIR approval from US FDA for their Hyderabad facility. Zydus Lab, the second stock in focus. Now, they have actually received US FDA approval to conduct clinical trials when it comes to Usnoflast. Now, this is an inflammatory treatment drug used Also, IREDA would be in focus. The important update coming in is that board meeting would be happening on January 23rd, where they'll be mulling fundraise via QIP. And Motilal Oswal has also issued a clarification, and of course, a lot of news flow coming, especially to their exposure to the Kalyan Jewellers, and they have stated that they have categorically denied the baseless, malicious and the defamatory allegations which are circulating in social media. So, clarification is coming from Motilal Oswal, especially for their AMC business and the officials related to it. And they have stated that the day-to-day operations are going in normal course. And lastly, IndusInd Bank would be in focus, where Gobind Jain as a CFO has resigned due to personal reasons, and an in-house director would be actually taking in charge his position for the time being.
All right, thanks very much, Sharad, for highlighting all those stocks. With this, it's a quick wrap on this edition of Market Cafe. Thanks so much for watching, but don't go anywhere as Market takes all the action forward.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.